In today's video, we are going to talk about the body paragraphs of the ACT essay. We are going to write the first body paragraph together, and then you and your student are going to finish writing the body paragraphs on your own. That way you're able to see kind of how to structure the body paragraphs, and your student is able to start to take ownership and write in their own voice. So we'll do the first body paragraph together, and then the rest of the body is up to you guys. In our next video, we'll write our conclusion, and then you and your student will have completed the ACT essay, practice essay that is on the ACT's website. For transition words, I'm going to attach a list of transition words to your ACT resource tab on the ACT Coach website. But I'm also going to talk about how to transition without using those words, because largely students are going to kind of forget, or you start to rely on only one or two, and then you're continuously using additionally in your body, and that's not great either. So we are going to talk about strategy of the body paragraphs while writing body paragraph 1, and then, like I said, body paragraphs, additional body paragraphs are up to you and your student to write. So I like to transition using common words that are found in the paragraph previous, usually the last sentence of the previous paragraph. So looking at the introduction, we have our thesis as our last paragraph, and I use the terms reliance and technology. So I'm going to start this body paragraph, this first body paragraph, using the word relying, because that ties the thesis, which is our last sentence of the introduction, to our first sentence of the body paragraph. So you don't always have to use the in addition, otherwise, however, concluding, finally, those types of words, those traditional transition words. You don't always have to use those when transitioning. Sometimes you can just pull a common word from the previous paragraph to start your next paragraph. And that way the flow is continuing for the reader. So I'm going to start with relying. And in this paragraph, I'm going to talk about the reliance of technology in the workforce, because that is what I mentioned in my thesis, with the reliance on technology is hindering society in both the workforce and the way in which we communicate. I'm first going to tackle the workforce aspect of my thesis in this paragraph. Again, you're going to need to demonstrate that you understand the other perspectives. So that means bringing in counter arguments. So my stance is that technology is not great, that it is hurting us as a society. So I need to also show that it does help sometimes as well, but why ultimately it's not worth it. So this body paragraph, I'm going to say relying on technology has created a world in which machines are heavily utilized in the workforce, where once humans were on assembly lines, robots are now used to do the same. And we found this information in our prompt. If you remember, it specifically talked about robots building cars and other goods on assembly lines where we once had human workers. So continually go back to the prompt and look at that additional information to get ideas of what to write in your body paragraph. That's why that is there for the student, because again, it's not the 5th or 8th grade writing test where they're given 2 articles. So relying on technology has created a world in which machines are heavily utilized in the workforce. Where once humans were on assembly lines constructing items like cars, robots are now used to do the same. Technology has made advances. So this is when we're going to introduce our counter argument. So technology has made advances in the areas of efficiency, but at the cost of the human factor. So because we bring in the human factor and that technology has made advances in efficiency, we want to explain that a little bit further. So we don't want to just leave it as technology's made advances, but it's at the cost of humans, and then move on, because that's not really demonstrating that you understand the other side of the argument, which the other perspective is that technology is good for us. So I'm going to introduce that technology may have made advances, it still is going to be more detrimental to society than helpful. So technology has made advances in the areas of efficiency, but at the cost of the human factor. A robot is unable to tell quality that may only be seen through the human eye. Robots are also fallible in the sense that they can malfunction or cease working. Whereas humans, whereas a human does not have a reset button or battery. So we've brought up points that show that yes, robots might be efficient, they might be helping the workforce. They're still not infallible. They can run down, they can malfunction. You're still going to need a human to fix those. They're not always going to be able to tell the quality of a product, whereas a human might be able to see something, see an imperfection in a color or a thread or a fabric that a robot just cannot tell. So in the sense I'm saying that robots are hurting our manufacturing assembly lines more than helping, that the quality is potentially down, even though efficiency might be up. But then calling into efficiency, because I'm saying that the robots malfunction and sometimes they just stop working, and humans don't necessarily do that on a regular basis. And then I'm going to conclude it with the advances in these areas may look like progression, but technological advances also come with issues that are unseen in humans. So I'm concluding it by kind of summarizing what I've stated in my paragraph, but also kind of leading into the next paragraph where I will talk about communication, or where you will talk about communication, because the next body paragraphs are going to be up to you and your student. Now remember, there are two perspectives. You need to respond to at least one perspective. So we've responded to one perspective in this body paragraph. I challenge you to try to respond to both of the perspectives in the prompt, and this prompt is attached on the Writing ACT Coach page, so you will be able to access this prompt for your student to work through. It's not just on the screen. You're not going to have to keep going back and pausing. It is attached that you can download. And so you're going to want to go over each perspective to be a strong writer. So in my next paragraphs, I might talk about communication, and then I might discuss further the differences in the perspectives and argue my point again. So this is how you'll write your body paragraphs, 2 to 3 body paragraphs, depending on the timing for your student. As long as they can effectively and coherently write their argument and write on at least one other perspective, comparing it to one other perspective, they will score well on this ACT writing test, barring any major grammar or spelling issues. We want to try to fit in enough time to respond to both of the other perspectives, because that kind of shows that we're a highly skilled writer, and that we can argue our point against multiple stances. But if nothing else, we want to at least learn how to effectively write against one other perspective. Hopefully this video helped.